Hey, what's up guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. This is Gran Turismo Sport demo. It's a B version demo, meaning that it's not a full-fledged game. They're just showing you a certain portion of the game. There's a truckload of more cars and more features and whatnot in the full version when it becomes available on Tuesday, next Tuesday, the October 17th. However, one unique cool feature about Gran Turismo Sport is there's so many features. If you guys go through my couple of videos that I did, features in terms of customizing your camera, the adjustments of the camera, how far, how close do you want it to be, and also the adjustment of the HDR and the slider of the HDR, how much of the peak brightness would you like. On top of that, you also are presented with exposure, like how much of exposure do you want from the volumetric light to take the advantage of that peak brightness. So there's so much into this game that, in my honest opinion, and this is just my own opinion, I personally think this is the best looking console racing game I have ever seen. I have some photos and stills on my Facebook. You guys can check it out. This is all in-game engine. This is not something that was pre-recorded and then put on here CGI. This is in-game engine. Everything you see here, it's in-game engine and really looks great. However, I do want to mention one thing. The VR, it's not included on this demo. Obviously, if they include the VR, the demo would have been 50, 60 gigabytes. This is going to be a hefty and a huge game. So when you decide to purchase this game, to download this game, you're going to have to make sure you get a lot of space on your hard drive. I use Seagate 5 terabyte external hard drive. That's where I download all my games and all my stuff. But you're going to need that. You know, this is why I tell people 500 gigabytes doesn't mean anything anymore. You put maybe 4 games and that's about it. And look at this. Look what you're seeing here right now. This is Aston Martin, and this is all in-game engine. This is PlayStation 4 Pro, showing you the graphics, volumetric light, reflection. This is all in-game engine, and it just shows you. It also shows you if developers know how to utilize the graphics from that GPU. This is what happens. You know, this is why Hideo Kojima from Konami, when he was doing Metal Gear, he was able to squeeze the best possible graphics from Sony, because he knew inside out how that console worked. Same thing with the digital Polyphony Digital company. They do the same thing. They know exactly how to utilize that AMD chip that's built inside of it, how to utilize that graphical enhancements. And I'm hoping that developers will do the same thing for the Xbox One X. They will be able to tap in and utilize that power of Xbox One X, because Xbox One X has really a lot of juice that developers, there shouldn't be any excuse for developers not to utilize that juice, you know. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do just a custom race. You see, there's no VR. VR2 is not available. But I also want to mention something. When it comes to the VR in Gran Turismo is going to be a limited VR experience. It's not going to be like a full-fledged VR experience where you get to drive everywhere and do what you want to do. In the beginning, it's going to be a limited VR experience. But then as the time goes, as the time progresses, then you'll see some updates and you'll see some more VR cars, more VR tracks and stuff like that. And this game will grow as the time progresses, okay? It will evolve just like Drive Club has evolved. It will evolve, and by spring next year, you'll see plenty of VR. You'll see plenty of tracks and cars and races and whatnot. It's going to be really good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do like a custom race. I'm going to choose Dragon Trail Seaside 2. And then we'll do it on a sunrise. And the car I'm going to pick up will be... Let me see, what is this? I'll go with the Lexus. Oh, should I go with the Lexus? Yeah, we'll go with the Lexus, man. Let's do that. Now, before we do everything else, excuse me, I just gotta check something here really quick. I apologize. Sorry about that. I hate doing this, you know, texting someone while I'm doing a video. How dare you do that, Mr. 4K? There you go. You know, it's funny, people always text me like when I'm doing something, like if I'm not doing it, it's so interesting, man, about my life. When I'm busy, like everybody's texting me and talking to me. But when I'm free, like when I'm like in that moment and I'm free, I got times on my hand, nobody's answering, no one's replying, no one's saying anything. It's such weird thing, man. Alright, let's do this. I'm sure this has happened to you many times. To a lot of you. Now, one thing I want to mention, as I did on my previous video, you can use a DualShock controller, motion sensor controller, meaning you can grab it and use it as a wheel, move it left and right, okay? So you grab on both grips and you move it left and right as you would like with think of it like a mini wheel, like you using a mini wheel to race. I think it's a cool addition, you know, that they added that feature in there. But I prefer that you guys get a Thrustmaster racing wheel. So here we go. I cannot emphasize enough how great this looks in the 4K and HDR. It looks really great. You know, one thing you are going to appreciate, as I did on Gran Turismo Sport, it's the controllers. That's the one thing that stands out to me the most. It's the controllers. Controllers are so smooth. Sure, the eye candy is beautiful, HDR is beautiful, 4K is beautiful, checkerboard rendering is beautiful, all of that, it's cool. But what I really appreciated is the attention to detail on the controllers. The controls are so good, man. And you can also adjust your controls. You can adjust how much gas on the pedal you want to put on there, how much pressure do you want to put on the pedal, on the gas. Same thing goes for the brake, how much of a pressure you want to apply on the brake, how much of a sensitivity on the steering wheel would you like. I mean, it is so smooth, it is so good. They really did a fantastic job. And of course, HDR, it's I'll just say it like this. I already spent a bunch of hours with this game since morning, and I can tell you that this is the best looking HDR that I have seen in a game. And I don't just lightly say that on every game. If I say it like that on a game, that means that this is the best HDR. Trust me. Not only do you have unlimited, here, let me show you. Not only do you have unlimited stuff you can do here on advanced settings. But there's so much you can do. You can adjust the cockpit view. How much do you want it? Front and back. Do you want to zoom in or do you want to zoom out? Like, there's so many different options you got here. You can choose the height. How much of height would you like? Would you like to go down below or would you like to go higher? But I would keep it, honestly, I would keep it like right here in the middle. You know, like, there's so many features that are available in this game. And you can do the same thing with the chase view camera. You can choose camera sensitivity, rotation, axis, how much offset would you like to put. You can choose between far and near. So there's so many different adjustments here. And then you got force feedback. How much force feedback sensitivity would you like? How much torque would you like? You also can choose between high fidelity graphics or just the frame rate. Now, if you choose option for frame rate, then you're going to be losing that quality of graphics, you know, but you will be getting a much better frame rate. So it all depends. What they're doing here, honestly, the reason I like it so much is they're giving people many different variety of options. Okay, it's like, okay, if you don't like it this way, you can do this. If you want to do it this way, you can do it this way. So they're giving you a variety of different options on how you want to play this game. And I think Polyphony Digital, kudos to them for doing that, because they're really thinking about the gamers and how they want to play this game. You know, if you don't want to use a racing wheel, you don't have to use a racing wheel, but it would be a much better experience if you do use a racing wheel. If you want to use a controller, they're still giving you the option to use the motion sensor on a controller as a mini wheel. And you can see you can adjust the sensitivity on the controller, you can adjust the feedback. So there's so many different options here. And this is not even me, honestly, I'm not even touching a surface on what's available here. Now let me go back to the advanced settings and let me choose cockpit view right here. There. Hold on just one second. I got another text message here. I apologize. It's funny. This is happening while I'm doing this. Hold on. There we go. All right, so let's continue. Again, I apologize, but you know, it's one of those things. If I don't, you know, reply to the text, I feel like people will think I'm trying to, you know. You hear that? You heard that, didn't you? You heard that, right? By the way, it's a she. Hold on a second. So anyways, I was saying, there's so many features and accolades they're available on this game. And if you watch my previous two videos, you will see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of features that this game has. And this is not even a full-fledged game. It's just a demo. Okay? And there's so much, man. Now, if you don't like the music, you can turn it off. You can turn off the music, you know. You have that option as well. Just look how realistic that lightning is, man. The volumetric light. Again, this video is not doing it justice till you actually see this in a very good HDR wide color gamut 4K TV. If you have a really good 4K HDR TV, it's almost like you're watching a Michael Bay film, honestly. You know how Michael Bay makes all of his cameras, lenses, and everything looks very flashy? You know, so it's kind of like that, honestly. But remember, the whole point here is not the eye candy. My whole point here is the controls. What I really like about Gran Turismo is the controls. They're so smooth. 4K and HDR and the graphics is just an extra accolade to me. VR, it's an extra welcome accolade, but to me, the controls, it's controls and customization is what I'm trying to say. What I really appreciate here is the controls, smooth controls and customizations, and I think you guys will appreciate that as well. Trust me, you're definitely going to appreciate the controls here. Alright, let me pass him. Go. Like I said, you can customize your brakes, sensitivity on your brakes and sensitivity on your gas pedal the way you wanted it to be. You can also use a clutch, you know, there's a stick shift option as well. That's if you're using a racing wheel, steering wheel, then absolutely you're going to be using a stick shift. That's for more immersive experience. Now we're going to go through a replay a little bit just to show you replay and some of the features on the replay that are available. If you ask me honestly, like, which one's the... And I know you guys want to know this. I know everybody's been asking me this question all day long today. People have been asking me, well, which one do you think is the best? Project Cars 2 or Forza 7 or this, Gran Turismo Sport? And it's not as simple as me saying this is the best, this is the holy grail. All three racing games have something special to offer, okay? So they're all three of them are equally great. I mean, I would suggest whenever you get a chance, collect all three of them and enjoy all three of them. But in my personal, this is my personal opinion, my personal preference, let me spell this again in case some of you didn't hear it on this video. Preference, my own personal preference, opinion is that, to me personally, this is my cup of tea, or if you like, my cup of coffee, okay? I prefer this type of game because the controls are much better than, let's say, on Project Cars 2. Project Cars 2, you have to tweak every single car, and to me that's a little bit of a hassle. All right, oh god. Forza 7, the controls are good, but still, you know, there's something missing there, like you know, the tracks are like too narrow. Like, what I'm trying to say, the tracks don't have that depth of field. They feel too small, like too narrow. Like in this game, you have a nice depth of wideness of the tracks, and they look more realistic. Same thing when you're making a turn makes more realistic than opposite to, let's say, Project Cars 2 or Forza Motorsport 7. Now, I'm not taking anything away from these two games. They're excellent games. But in my opinion, when it comes to racing, the controls are the key feature. that a lot of these racing gurus will be looking into. That they spend a lot of money on these racing wheels, and they want to make sure when they buy a game, racing game, that it's running as realistically as possibly smooth on their very expensive controller racing wheel rigs, right, that they purchased. Rightly so. And I think a lot of you racing fans out there, hardcore racing fans, you will not be disappointed by what Gran Turismo Sport is delivering here. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, and you'll be pleasantly appreciative of what they're doing here, and the amount of customization that you can do here. Alright, so let's look at the replay really quick. I'm sorry about the texting. You know, I shouldn't be recording a video gameplay and texting at the same time, but you know me, I like to multitask, you know, and it's an important text messages, so alright, so here we go. Okay, let's look at the replay really quick. I'm going to show you a couple of things in the replay. Just look how realistic this is. If you have a 78-inch QLED from Samsung, or if you have A1E 65-inch OLED or C7 65-inch OLED, you're truly going to appreciate HDR, wide color gamut, deep dark levels here. It's really going to look fantastic. Or even if you have a Sony X900, you're going to appreciate just how beautiful this game will look. Like I said, it's one of the best HDRs I have seen. They really spend a lot of time making sure that HDR it's rendered realistically and perfectly. They really spend a lot of time making sure of that, and it doesn't disappoint. It looks very realistic. I'm not gonna lie to you. At some points you almost forget that you're like watching a video game. Like you think you're watching a channel, racing channel or something, you know, something out of like a Eurosport, or, you know what I mean, or Speed Network or something like that. And here's what's so cool about doing a photo mode. You can walk around, you can pretty much take any kind of photos you want. You can go up, you can go down, and it just looks remarkably awesome in 4K HDR. It really does. And there's so many options, you know. It's almost like the amount of option that this photo mode and video editing mode has. It's almost like they integrated Sony Vegas video editor. There's so many things you can do. You can export this to a what you call it, a Shadow Factory, that feature that's on PlayStation, where you can also re-edit some stuff and you can upload it to YouTube. You can, you know, put your background music and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of creativity here on the photo mode. So it looks really good. And you can see HDR here is just simply just popping. You know, the attention to detail here is truly remarkable. Now, some of you are going to say, well, how does this stack up? Again, I know there's going to be that question always going to pop. How does this stacks up against Forza 7? I mean, visually, they're both equally great. All those three are both equally visually great, but Gran Turismo does HDR much better. Gran Turismo depth of field here, it's more realistic, more photorealistic, what I'm trying to say. Look at these tracks, the way they are. Look at the distance on these tracks, like how wide they are realistically. And this is what you want. You know, in Forza 7, the tracks are a bit narrow and too small. Same thing with Project Cars too. Like they seem like very small and narrow. Here there's a depth of wideness here. Look at the wideness of the track here, and it's very realistic, and that's what you want. And you got many different types of options. You can select different types of cameras and stuff. Oh, you can use the one here inside the seat, and then here you can take a photo the way you want. You can zoom in, you can zoom out in the distance. You can check the exposure. How much of exposure would you like? How much of aperture would you like? What kind of aspect ratio would you like to use? You can choose the different types of grids. You can have the grid on, or you can have it off. It's up to you. Or you can leave the grid on. So it's really, there's so much. You can have the guidance on or guidance off. So there's a lot of features here that you can use. Like, here's a good shot. I thought about maybe taking this shot like this. This is a good shot right here, like this. So I'm going to take this shot right here. There you go. I mean, and I'm going to save it right now. Here, I'm going to save this. Yep, save this photo. And you can do so many things on it. And, you can add your own effects, After Effects. There's a lot of stuff. You can put the logos and write stuff down. People will use a bunch of creativity when they start doing these videos. And this is not even me touching the surface of how much customization availability there is in this game. The option variety of options that you got, that you can do, it's truly remarkable. See, you got the effects here. You can use your own effects. What type of effects would you like to use? A film grain, how much film grain, lens distortion, color fringing, glare, mask filter. There's so much stuff. It's almost like they put a Sony Vegas film editor for you to use in this game. So it packs a lot of features. This is something I'm trying to bring the point about why I am personally so excited about this game, because of the features that it has. And to me, that means a lot. When you purchase something, when you purchase a game and you get all these benefits, then you don't mind that you spend that money. You're like, oh, hey, it's money's well spent. We're getting a lot of accolades here. So I'm gonna exit out of here. We can look at this demo a little bit more. Alright, so I'm gonna exit this. I'm gonna get out of here. Well, I don't know what else I can say about this game. I did, 3 videos? 4 videos I did on this thing. This is my fourth video, or I think this is my 3rd video, including the announcement. Okay, 4th video. And like I said, it's definitely worth it. If you don't trust me, if you don't believe me, if you don't believe in what I'm telling you here, and if you have your own opinions and if you're on the fence, you can go ahead and download this demo. Check it out. It's 43 gigabytes. Try it out for yourself, and you will see what I'm talking about. Like I said, the one thing you will appreciate the controls. The controls are top notch in this game. And of course, the eye candy of 4K and HDR will definitely show up in this game big time. Whether you're driving in the sunset, sunrise, night reflections, etc., etc., it looks really good, man. So, look, this is my cup of tea. I like this game. I personally, in my humble opinion, I highly recommend this game for those of you who are Gran Turismo fans, and for those of you who are also racing fans and have these expensive racing rigs. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to pick it up, honestly. There's so much in it. There's so many features in it for you to try. And if you're like worried about the cars, and it's only like 80 cars, right? That will grow as the time passes by with the DLCs and season passes. All of that will grow as the months go by, and then next year, 2018 spring, summer, we'll have even more tracks and even more cars. This game will evolve probably up to 500 cars and 180 tracks and different venues and reverse racing on the tracks and whatnot. So, like I said, I highly recommend it. You guys should download the demo, check it out, and let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Give me your thoughts on how you feel about this game. I personally love it. I've always been a fan of Gran Turismo ever since 1998. Played Gran Turismo 1, Gran Turismo 2, Gran Turismo 3, A-Spec, and Gran Turismo 4, 5, 6, and now this. So, I've been a fan of Gran Turismo for a long time, and they never seem to disappoint me, honestly, in my opinion. There you have it, guys. So, hopefully this third or fourth video that I just did, hopefully it'll give you some idea whether you're on a fence of purchasing Gran Turismo. I think you should definitely purchase it if you love racing, and if you're a fan of Gran Turismo. I mean, this is no-brainer. We all know you're gonna buy it. There you go. I think I said enough. I think I said everything I needed to say. Hopefully you guys find this video resourceful and informative. Other than that, I'll catch you guys later. Have a good night, good morning, wherever you are. Mr. 4K Upscaler, out.